I'm aware that every single thing I argue in this video is going to get pressure from one side or another. So I can understand this is going to sound crazy to some people or secular people. But let me explain. So the adjective historical is kind of ambiguous here. There's a couple of distinct questions we want to disambiguate and kind of uncluster. First question is just, are Adam and Eve real people in the past?
Yes, Adam and Eve were real people in the past.
Second, were Adam and Eve fresh de novo creations? That is, from scratch. Or were they descended from previous hominins? I'll define that word in a second.
Yes, Adam and Eve were fresh de novo creations from scratch.
Third is, were Adam and Eve the first human beings? That's a slightly different question than the second question.
No, Adam and Eve were not the first human beings. Nope. And really, they weren't even the first Homo sapiens. Like, the introduction of the Homo sapien is in Genesis 1, and Adam and Eve are Homo sapiens, but from a later time.
And then another fourth question is, were Adam and Eve the biological progenitors of all living human beings?
No, obviously not. Nope. Adam and Eve were not the biological progenitors of all living human beings. They were indeed not that. I notice Gavin has this little parenthetical remark at the end of this. He says, because you can believe hominins that are not made in the image of God don't have a soul, and etc. So Gavin's presenting the old-fashioned tradition here that image of God means we have an immortal soul. And I would just remind you that that's not a Bible teaching. We're never told that being made in the image of God indicates one possesses an immortal soul. That's not the meaning. If you do want the meaning, why, look at Genesis 1:26 and 28.
First, for a while now, there's been the challenge from what we call paleoanthropology, which is basically the study of early humanity. So you think of anthropology as the study of humanity, paleoanthropology meaning the study of ancient humanity or early old humanity. And basically what we're talking about here is fossils, archaeological artifacts like tools that we discover and so forth. And we're talking about especially hominin fossils. Hominin, so the word hominin usually now is taken to refer to all modern and extinct humans and their immediate ancestors. And then the word hominid with a D is a broader term referring to all modern and extinct great apes. So that's how I'm just going to use the term hominin when we're talking about these other species like Neanderthals and Denisovans and so forth. And even those words, I know I pronounce them probably wrong. I hear other people do it different. Anyway, I know even saying those words causes some people out there different reactions. All I can tell you is with a pastoral heart, I'm going to try to just work through this. So, and also the terminology about hominin versus hominid, that's not always consistent. You can see a little variation there. But bottom line is, we've always had, for a while now, we know we have these hominin fossils, okay? We've got to try to find some way to interpret that. But this whole area has kind of ratcheted up another level in terms of the challenge here because of the extra layer now that comes on from genetic science. So the claim on the table, okay, is that the human population never went through a bottleneck of fewer than about 10,000 people, much less 2 people. And that's pretty certain. That's put forward as like, we know that for sure. So you've got the paleoanthropological data that's already creating some angst, and then the genetic data comes in as like a 1-2 punch, and it's causing a lot of angst about this area. And rightly so. We should think this through. You know, it's a tough area. It's so important.
Yes, those are tremendous problems, aren't they? Those are tremendous problems indeed. And not only for young Earth creationists, But for Hugh Ross and his group, people that think along those lines. And Willie Craig was saying something like he thinks everything from Homo heidelbergensis on is the image of God, something like that. I haven't really looked into that. But yeah, this issue is hard to answer, isn't it? Unless you know about the education of the angels. This progress toward an image of God was the culmination of a long ongoing effort.